Lieutenant Marisol Vega peered through the reinforced glass of Deep Space Station Horizon's observatory deck, half listening to the soft hum of the hydroponics bay below. Her fingers flew over the console as she decoded the incoming transmission from the distant coordinates of Zeta Prime, coordinates that were, until moments ago, nothing more than an astronomer's curiosity. The screen flickered, and the message scrolled in crisp, starlit lettering. "Welcome to the Galactic Empire. Please spell Q correctly, and don't eat your own socks." Marisol's jaw dropped. Socks? She replayed the clip, hoping. The station speakers had mispronounced or garbled some alien dialect, but the text was clear. She shot a glance across the deck, where Technician Lowell's eyes were glued to the same screen. "Did they really just—" she began. Lowell snorted. "If they didn't, that'd be the biggest prank in human history." Before Marisol could respond, the entire communications team erupted in laughter. Commander Raj Chaudhry, whose reputation for stoic resolve was the stuff of legend, let out a soft chuckle, then doubled over. The observatory's coffee machine, startled by the seismic outburst of mirth, sputtered its last pathetic drip. At that moment, the colossal silhouette of the Empire's flagship, Imperatorial Exuberance, shimmered into view. It drifted into geosynchronous orbit, its mirror-polished hull gleaming like a cosmic disco ball. Across its length unfurled enormous banners, inscribed with looping Aurelian script, "Ha ha ha ha," a universal greeting, apparently. In the makeshift briefing room below, Ambassador Elena Nguyen, tasked with Earth's first interstellar diplomacy, was reviewing the Empire's protocol handbook, which had arrived in PDF form about an hour ago. She cleared her throat, determined to maintain decorum. "Ladies and gentlemen," she began, voice wavering ever so slightly, "please welcome our distinguished guests." Her carefully prepared speech dissolved the moment she tried to pronounce Ziglatronian envoy. A hiccuping snort escaped her lips and she covered her face. The rest of the room cascaded into helpless laughter, with cups of recycled water rattling on consoles and comlogs freezing mid-sentence. Somewhere deep in the station's AI core, Athena 7 detected anomalous spikes in auditory turbulence. In lieu of a formal diagnostics report, the AI offered a single, synthesized giggle. He. Back on the observation deck, the colossal docking bay doors parted with a pneumatic hiss. In stepped the Empire's delegation, six-armed, towering figures in blinding white tunics, each limb moving in perfect synchrony. Their skin shimmered iridescently under Horizon's floodlights. At their head was Supreme Jester Zilak IV, ceremonially bowing with all six arms extended. In one hand, he held a bright rubber chicken. In another, a whoopee cushion. The remaining four hands gestured in elaborate pantomime. "Earthlings," his voice rolled through the speakers, rich, melodious, and tinged with amusement. "We come in peace and jest." The rubber chicken emitted an exaggerated squawk. The whoopee cushion whooshed in a resonant bass note. Marisol, still clutching her tablet, let out a short bark of laughter that echoed absurdly in the cavernous bay. Commander Chaudhry straightened, wiping tears from his eyes. "Well," he said between chuckles, "they certainly know how to make an entrance." Ambassador Nguyen, recovering her composure, stepped forward. "Supreme Jester Zilak, welcome. On behalf of humanity, we—" She paused. A soft squeak from the whoopee cushion under Zilak's foot reminded her of the absurdity of it all. Everyone waited. Finally, she pronounced, "We're honored to meet you." Zilak's six hands snapped together in applause. Then, with impeccable, comedic timing, he released the rubber chicken, which flapped across the bay like a deranged space bird before bouncing to a halt at Marisol's feet. Marisol picked it up, turning it over. The chrome-plated beak gleamed. She pressed it experimentally, and the chicken dutifully squawked again. Is it weaponized?" she joked. Zilak chuckled, each arm shaking in mirth. "Only for those who take themselves too seriously." As the first tendrils of interspecies dialogue unfurled, Marisol realized Earth's grand moment on the galactic stage had begun. Not with a treaty, nor a threat, but with shared laughter. And in that laughter lay the promise and peril of every alliance yet to come. Within days of first contact, the Galactic Empire transformed Earth's orbit into a carnival of cosmic proportions. The imperatorial exuberance announced its headline event, the Imperial Comedy Tour, to be held at the ancient, yet technologically upgraded, Imperial Colosseum on Luna. Invitations beamed down to every major city on Earth, accompanied by hollow posters of Supreme Jester Zilak IV doing 6-armed pratfalls. A stage like no other lieutenant, Marisol Vega stood in the cavernous entrance hall of the Colosseum, its vaulted ceiling painted with animated frescoes of historic alien comedians. The air thrummed with anticipation. All around her, human delegates, actors, writers, improvisers, practiced their lines and gags. Every handful of feet slid upon strategically placed banana peels. Innocuous-looking pies hovered on trays, their fillings poised for maximum impact. When the gates opened, tens of thousands of spectators filled the tiered seats. Humans in bright Earth humor t-shirts, Aurelians in their flowing robes, Gorgolath mercenaries in full battle regalia, each clutching a jumbo whoopee cushion. As a souvenir, Drummond, the Empire's master of ceremonies, boomed over the PA, "Prepare your funny bones, Earthlings. Tonight, we unite galaxies with guffaws. Earth's finest. Try to impress." First up was a trio of stand-up comedians from New York who billed themselves as the Cosmic Couch. Their routine hinged on interstellar dating apps, swipe right if you like tentacles, but technical glitches garbled key punchlines into a garbled static roar. The audience's reaction? Supreme Jester Zilak IV expelled one of his 6 arms in a mock feint, setting off the first genuine belly laugh of the night. Next came a sketch troupe from Lagos, whose shtick involved a mock news broadcast about alien invasion traffic reports. Every time their anchor announced delays. On the Milky Way's outer spiral arm, the entire amphitheater erupted. So potent was their comedic timing that the Colosseum's warning sirens briefly mistook laughter for a seismic event and initiated self-sealing bulkheads. Between acts, the Empire unveiled its own brand of humor, tickle vines. These luminescent tendrils slithered down from the ceiling, seeking volunteers with inflatable tickle shields. Brave souls donned the shields and pranced into the ring, only to be enveloped in vines that elicited roaring, involuntary laughter. Marisol volunteered, suiting up in shiny chrome armor. Within seconds, she found herself airborne, limbs gyrating, tears streaming, as her laughter triggered a cascading light show projected on the dome above. The Custard Pie Summit. Halfway through the evening, Ambassador Elena Nguyen convened a Custard Pie Summit. Delegates from Earth and the Empire gathered around a massive table dotted with pies, each filled with different flavors. The Aurelians preferred glow-in-the-dark elderberry custard. The mechanic was simple. You must sit perfectly still while your opponent flings a pie. Diplomacy by slapstick. Ambassador Nguyen faced off against Grand Vizier Potlax, a towering figure whose feet never quite touched the ground. With impeccable grace, he lobbed a pie that arced in slow motion, splatting across Nguyen's shoulder. She counterattacked by shoving a pie into his midriff. The resulting splurt of neon green filling sent sparks from his robes embedded. Enchantment crystals, and the room imploded into laughter so loud it registered on Luna's seismographs. Yet behind the laughter, Nguyen noticed something unsettling. Every whipped cream treaty draft slid across the table bore clauses that overwhelmingly favored imperial interests. Rare ore shipments, exclusive mining rights on Earth's moon, limitless access to human cultural archives. By the time the laughter subsided, the legalese was signed and sealed. Nobody quite remembered what they'd agreed to. The unseen agenda. That night, Marisol and Nguyen retreated to the Horizon Lounge, sipping zero-gravity cocktails spiked with giggle gas. Nguyen laid out the pie-splashed treaty on the hollow table. "Look at this," she mused. "We're trading away centuries of autonomy. In exchange for what, exactly? More jokes." Marisol wiped a smear of elderberry from her cheek. You thought we were here to build alliances. Instead, we're the punchline." Nguyen scrolled through diplomatic logs. "Notice how every time we laughed the hardest, the Empire's negotiators closed another deal? They weaponize comedy." Her eyes glinted with determination. "Tomorrow, we'll host our own show. But this time, we set the rules and the punchlines." By the dawn of the second tour day, Earth's delegates were no longer merely participants. They were co-authors of the skit. And as the Colosseum lights flickered back on, all of Luna held its breath. Would humanity finally learn to laugh with the Empire, or would they become victims of their own punchlines? By the third dawn over Luna's glimmering horizon, tension crackled through the air like static electricity, an odd counterpoint to the giddy laughter that had echoed through the Colosseum for 2 straight days. Humanity had learned much. The art of crafting awkward space puns, the precise arc for a custard pie lob, and that tickle vines, when handled incorrectly, could leave you twitching in orbit. Yet despite their growing confidence, Earth's delegates knew that tonight's finale would decide whether they were masters of the joke or the butt of one. The grand finale set up, the Colosseum had never looked grander. A colossal holographic stage towered at its center, draped in shimmering curtains woven from lunar dust and starlight. Floating above, a scoreboard counted down the seconds to midnight, and to Supreme Jester Xylac IV's ultimate punchline. Rumor had it that this wasn't merely a joke, but a ceremonial rite, the Empire's final bid to bind Earth in eternal alliance. Ambassador Nguyen and Lieutenant Vega huddled backstage, swapping winks. Behind them, Earth comedians tightened their grip on rubber chickens and readied their best barbed one-liners. The Empire's delegation filed in, their 6 arms folded in eager anticipation. The only somber face belonged to Grand Vizier Potlax, who, fresh from his custard-induced treaty signing, seemed to regret every whipped cream clause he'd ever approved. The infinite whoopee cushion at precisely 0 hour, the curtains parted. Supreme Jester Xylac IV floated aloft on a breeze of holographic confetti, each of his 6 hands clutching a cosmic artifact. But the largest and most radiant was unveiled last, the infinite whoopee cushion, an orb of translucent latex pulsing, with neon energy the size of Europa. "Behold!" Xylac trumpeted, voice quaking with glee. "A gift of unity. Sit upon it and let your laughter fuel the cosmos." He beckoned Ambassador Nguyen forward. The assembled crowd hushed as she gingerly approached the cushion's glowing surface. Marisol nudged Nguyen. "Are you sure?" Nguyen half smiled, half grimaced. "If laughter is their weapon, let's see how it wields on us." With a diplomatic nod, Nguyen pressed her weight onto the cushion. A thunderous PHHTT rent the air, reverberating through the Colosseum's foundations. A shock wave of mirth exploded outward. Humans cackled, Aurelians chortled, and even the stern Gorgolaths cracked toothy grins. The scoreboard, meant to tick down to 0, froze, caught in the endless loop of collective hilarity. The cosmic upside-down moments later, however, realization dawned on everyone, perhaps too late. The cushion did not deflate. Its neon glow intensified, pulsing in rhythm with the audience's laughter. On the holographic scoreboard, new glyphs appeared. Power, maximum, alliance, sealed. Down in the tunnels, engineers monitoring the warp drive nexus reported sudden surges of comedic energy. Warp cores hummed with unprecedented efficiency. Shield generators stabilized. Communication arrays beamed signals with crystalline clarity. The Empire's mighty warfleet, previously requiring weeks to charge for a single jump, now stood at full readiness in minutes, all powered by the infinite laughter loop. Lieutenant Vega's eyes widened. Nguyen, they've turned our laughter into their power source. Goshen, wiping tears of mirth and shock, realized the true punchline. By disarming humanity with humor, the Empire had forged a power bond far stronger than any treaty. Earth's alliance was now literally energizing the Empire's heart, turning the tables, but humans are nothing if not adaptable. As laughter rippled through every mind, Nguyen seized her moment. She strode to the mic with resolve and a rubber. Chicken in hand, the audience, still immobilized in giggles, watched as she tapped the mic. Esteemed Empire, you've harnessed our laughter, but you forgot one thing. She squeezed the chicken. It emitted a deafening squawk that cut through the mirth like a knife. The best punchlines, she declared, voice ringing clear, are the ones that surprise the teller. With perfect comedic timing, she lobbed the chicken toward the cushion. It landed on the orb's surface, and the cushion shuddered. Groans replaced giggles as the infinite loop broke. Lights flickered, holograms winked out. The cushion deflated in an instant, leaving nothing but a harmless latex blob. The crowd blinked. For a heartbeat, silence reigned. Then a solitary laugh. Zilak 4, six-armed, covering his mouth in astonishment. Then another, Vega Nguyen, and the entire audience exhaled laughter. Not compelled but chosen, a new treaty of shared humors. As the echoes of genuine laughter faded, Supreme Jester Zilak IV approached Ambassador Nguyen. He bowed on all six limbs and presented her with a crystalline treaty scroll, inscribed in Aurelian and English, Treaty of Shared Humor. Signed this day, June 17th, 2254, Galactic Standard, by the Galactic Empire and the United Earth Coalition. Article 1. Laughter shall be exchanged freely, but never weaponized without consent. Article 2. Joint research into comedy energy conversion to be shared equally. Article 3. A cultural council shall schedule quarterly comedy summits. On Luna Nguyen signed with a triumphant flourish. Zilak countersigned in a looping, exuberant stroke. Clarity and equity replaced subterfuge. Humanity had met the Empire, endured its jokes, and emerged, not as cosmic clowns, but as partners in the grandest comedy of all. As Vega and Nguyen stood amid the cheering crowd, they realized that the true power of laughter lay not in forcing it, but in choosing it together. And somewhere in the star-sprinkled sky, the infinite whoopee cushion, now deflated and harmless, reminded them all, the greatest punchline is the one we share.